We're so glad to have you with us, and we are going to be talking about all things Pear Deck today. So we did want to first let you know that we've got a few different options for you to find this information once it's gone. So what we are going to offer is today we are going to be going over all things Pear Deck, starting with our setup of Pear Deck on how to set it up with either your Microsoft 365 account or your Google account. We'll be talking about all the different features that are available to you and your students to help make your learning engagement happen. And then we're going to go over some options and really look at the platform and share how you can create an assignment through Canvas as well. So with that, we would like to also let you know that as we're working just to mute your microphone, and I'm going to go ahead and post a questions document in our chat. So that way you can ask any questions that you may have as we're going through so you don't forget them. And then also, we do have really helpful links on our bit.ly HLP USD links page. A lot of people bookmark this page as we update it very often with our new recordings that we've done on our trainings. So that's also an option for you as well. And we also have lots of videos on our YouTube channel. So go ahead and check that out. And also our HLP USD tech page. So if you can't find something on the bit.ly document, check out all those other resources that we've got going on for you as well. If you would like to attend again next week, we will be presenting on the same topic. And also we'll post a recording on our bit.ly page as well. So with that being said, we are going to go ahead and get started. We hope you enjoy the presentation today and hope you are able to take back some new information to your classroom.
I'm muted. Sorry about that. As I do this, we are going to put the link for the video on the chat so you have access to this. But Canvas made some changes to the way the students submit assignments for us, and along with that there were other changes, but I'm going to show you what that looks like now. Okay, so this is an assignment that we created as a teacher, and then here this particular teacher, for the submission options, she gave the option to do text entry box, media recording, file upload, and so on and so on. This is a best practice sometimes because there's many ways in which our students can show mastery. So a lot of times giving them options it's a good idea. But when our students come in here now, and I'm going to show you as a student view what this looks like, is that when they go in here and they are ready to submit this assignment, now they get this blue button right here that says submit assignment. So we're going to click there. I'm the student about to submit the assignment. Let's click on it. And now when they come in here, now they have the option for file upload to upload file, okay? But in addition to this, I know our teachers have been asking for the submission online on the desktop version to be similar to the one for the Canvas student app. So now notice that next to it, we have use webcam. So now our students can come in here and submit a picture of any assignment that maybe they did on their notebook, or maybe they did something on a worksheet. They can click on it and notice that it's going to open the webcam. It's going to ask to open it. It opens it, and now a student could come in here and just take a picture of this by just clicking on take photo right here. And when they do that, and I'll do that really quick so you can see it. Okay. Okay, so I use this photo. I don't want to do it again, so I can use it. And now a student can submit a picture directly from here. Okay. In addition to that, if this was a text entry, they could go to text entry, and they have the rich content editor and be able to answer questions here. Just so you know, they also have the ability to actually record media in here if they wanted to, okay? So text entries gives you the option too, okay? You have the ability to add anything from media. So if you wanted to record or upload media, same concept. They'll be able to record if they wanted to use their camera or just their mic. If they wanted to just upload something they already have, they have the ability to do that too. So it's right there. In addition to that, they do get other options because we've integrated CK12. They do get that option there. They have their Google Drive, and just so you know, they also have something called More. And when they go in here, they can go to Office 365, they can go to Studio, and they can submit assignments from here. So this is from the student point of view and what they can do, okay? So that's the new experience for them. But in addition to that, there were two other things that were changed on Canvas, and I want to show you that just really fast if I can. when you create an assignment and you go to SpeedGrader to grade it, now as a teacher, you have to have the ability to give that student the ability to resubmit. Okay, so now in the past, we used to have to go back to assignment, right, and redo the date. And sometimes we will make a mistake and do it for the whole class, and it will duplicate our assignments in areas. So you don't have to worry about that now, okay? So over here now, you're going to have, if I had a student that has submitted this, give me a second. I can come in here, I can see the student submission, and they say, oh, I forgot to do something. Can I resubmit again? You can grade it if you want to. And then you do have to give a comment. Okay, so you do have to say, please submit again, okay? If you wanted to type that, okay? And the moment you do that and you submit the entrance, notice what happens now. Now you have the ability to say, reassign the assignment to that particular student. So by doing this, you can reassign that same assignment without changing due dates, without changing end dates, without having to go back to that assignment. And what happens now is that when our students get it, I'll show you what that looks like for the student. Our students now get to see that same assignment, and notice how they have a resubmit assignment option now, okay? So now you can come in here and resubmit the assignment because you gave them the option to resubmit from SpeedGrader. So that's kind of a new tool that they have. In order for it to work, a couple of things. It only works with online submissions. It does not work with external tools right now. Okay, so you will not be able to use it with external tools. It only works with online submissions, the file upload, the media, and so on and so on. So that's kind of a nice little feature that we have. And then just one more that I wanted to show you. This is kind of big for teachers that use new quizzes and quizzes all the time. So in the past, you will have to create the quiz or the new quiz, and you have to add it through an external tool and so on and so on. Now you can do it directly from modules. If I'm in a module and I go to plus over here, and I want to add a quiz, and I say create a new quiz, notice that I get the option to add new quizzes or classic quizzes directly from the module. So all brand new, okay? So the student submission, the reassignment of an assignment to students, and also the ability to add new quizzes and quizzes from here. Thank you.
Sorry, I was muted too. We're off to a great start. Okay, everyone, again, thank you so much for joining us for Pear Deck. I know many of you have been trained before when Pear Deck came and trained, but we are going to be reviewing that and showing you so much more. So please get ready, everybody. This is going to be a fun-filled training, but it's going to be packed with a lot of information. And this is, we will be done by 3. So just you're hang in there with us, everyone. And we're going to go ahead and get started with a hands-on activity with you. So Ricardo, let's go ahead and bring them into the course so that they could join us. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute just for us to talk a little bit about Pear Deck while he's doing that. So if you have not used Pear Deck before, what it is essentially it allows you to take your Google Slides and your PowerPoints and turn them into interactive activities where you can actually take your slides and your students will interact with them in real time. So that's why we're here today. And you can also use their templates as well. So
it should be on the chat, Teresa. So if they click on the chat, it should take them automatically.
All right, here we go.
Because we changed the link before. That's why it didn't work. Go ahead.
All right.
There we go.
Perfect. Okay, everybody, thank you for your patience. So we're going to go straight from the link in the chat. Let me just get back on track here. Here we go. Now I feel like this, Ricardo. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm still I think I'm still smiling. All right, so I'm not the teacher right now. Ricardo is the teacher. I am the student. So we're all viewing the same thing together right now. So we want to bring you through the student experience so that later when we build it as a teacher, you understand what it is you're actually creating, right? So go ahead, Ricardo. Let's take us through.
We have 26 people that have joined. You want me to go ahead and start then? Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start. 27 now. Let's go ahead and start. Okay. So here we go. So this is what Teresa sees as a student and what you're going to see as a student.
So this is instructor paste right now. So that's why Ricardo is controlling the pace. There's also student pace where I can go on my own pace, but that's not what we're demonstrating right now. So go ahead and move on, Ricardo, please.
I am trying. Our computer's being very interesting today.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
It says page unresponsive, please wait. So let's wait. Let's give it a second. Here it goes. Okay, let me go back to 2. There it goes. Okay.
Okay, so everyone who's with us, here is one type of slides that you can have. It's called drag. And so if you're here with us, I'm just going to take that little red person and go ahead and drag it to however you're feeling right now. And we're going to do something with this later. So I'm just going to, right now, I'm happy, but things are not working great.
Think about technology not working. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go on to the next one. We're just demonstrating the different kinds of slides. Here is text where the students can answer prompts. So what do you want to know about Pear Deck? Go ahead and just answer anything here. And we'll show you what that looks like on the teacher's end later on. Okay, and then move on. What is Pear Deck? I already covered that just to kill time earlier. So we talked about that already. Click. And this is actually a video, Ricardo, that we're going to demonstrate later, right? Okay, so we're going to demonstrate that later on. All right, so here are the different types of questions that you can have in Pear Deck in the free version, and we're going to talk about this. So you just saw that we have write text, so they can go ahead and answer a prompt. They could write a number. They could choose an answer like multiple choice. You can actually show a website in the slide so that it doesn't bring them to another tab or another window. And you can also have your regular non-interactive slides that you can show answers or something like that. We'll demonstrate that in a moment. Click. How would a former student describe you in one word? So those of you who are in here right now, let's go ahead and answer this because we're going to use this data later to demonstrate something for you. How would a former student... I'd like to pretend that's true. I'm not sure. I like to think I'm funny, but that's not always the case. Okay. Thank you, Ricardo. Hopefully, do you see those responses coming through on your end?
Yeah, I'm going to move in about a second.
Good. Thank you.
Let's see. Perfect. Let's go to the next one.
And here is not text entry. This is a number entry. So later on, when you're playing with this from your end, from the teacher end, it's just, this is exactly what it is. How many books are there in the series Harry Potter? Don't judge me, everybody. This is just for demonstration purposes. Go ahead and pick a number. This is one of the options for your kids. I knew the answer earlier. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going to guess. Here we go.
Okay, let's move on.
Somebody could have helped me, but no one wants to help me. Okay, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Am I right? So this next slide is what we were talking about, a non-interactive slide, so that you actually show the students the answer if you wanted to. Okay, thank you. And here's another type of question where you're actually doing multiple choice. So it can be A, B, C, D, or you could actually alter the text so that you can show the different types of answers. So let's go ahead and answer this one. How good are you at graphing mathematical equations? So go ahead and answer it on your end. I'm going to admit I have other talents that I'm more proud of.
Oh, everybody answered that one. Let's move on.
Oh, good. Okay, so here's another one. This is really exciting, actually. What this is this is actually inserting a website. So this is my slide on the left, the graph, y equals x.
I only have, pardon me, I only have screen 5. I'm not able to move to move the next screens.
Go ahead and try to join by using the link that's on the chat right now.
Yeah, Jory, you're in the other one that wasn't working probably. If you use the chat one, the one in the chat, it should be here. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And then while he's shifting over, I want to point out that it happens to be the Desmos graphing calculator. So for those of you that are teaching mathematics, note how the importance of students being able to understand this because it is a portion of the SBAC. But the other thing is, obviously, we know there's plenty more websites that you could insert here, which is amazing.
Yeah, this is so cool because you have the slide here and then you have the website that you inserted on the side. So thank you, Gabriel, for clarifying. So that they don't have to go to another tab, another window. It's embedded right here, which is great. And so I'm just going to pretend I know what I'm doing here. And those of you who don't know, you can pretend with me. So I'm just going to graph. I'm going to, oh, look, there's a line. I only practiced this like 10 times. Okay. And x minus 4. Oh, look at that. I feel so extra smart today. All right. So here we go. So Ricardo's going to go ahead and move on to the next one.
Hey, you guys go ahead.
You could just follow along with us, Diori. I'm just showing the exact same thing. Thank you, dear.
So after she's graphed it, we're going to go to the next question.
So what kind of lines are the two you graphed in the previous question? So again, this is multiple choice and those were parallel. So I'm going to click on that. Click so you can see how the students can interact with you in your lesson. Next. All right. So how well do you understand what we just covered? So this could be a drawing one where you could actually drag, not a drawing one, sorry, draggable one where you can actually drag to the face, or this is a multiple choice here. So I've got this, move on. I'm pretty sure I understand. I'm a little confused. I'm totally lost. I think I'm pretty sure I understand because we haven't demoed the teacher part yet, but I think that's where I am right now.
Okay,
Move on.
let's go to the next one.
Premium. Okay, so for our district, you all have premium accounts. I don't know if you knew that, but now you do. So you do not only have the free version, but you have these additional options, which are amazing, and they're with our district account. So let's go ahead and move on, Ricardo. Our premium account, you have the drag a dot, which we're going to show you right now, drag a line, drag whatever icon that's in there. You can draw, the students can draw. They can actually draw on a picture with drawing and with text. And you also have what's called takeaways, which Ricardo's going to talk about later, but it's so amazing. And that's why we're asking you to go through this with us right now, because we're going to show you what it is with takeaways. So next slide, please. So here is this is a drag one. So place a pin on any state that begins with the letter M other than Michigan. So you would just take this and you would drag it. And
California, that's not start with an M, Teresa?
California
please?
doesn't. I will purposely choose the wrong one for this learning experience. Thank you, Mr. Ricinos. Okay, so that is incorrect, but that's okay. So go ahead and drag it. No judgment here, no judgment. So click, next. So here's another draggable one. This is draggable line. So where is the equator? Again, everyone, your guess is as good as mine. Please don't judge me. I'm assuming it's somewhere in the middle. So that's my answer. And the next slide actually is a non-interactive slide that shows us the answer. And I think I got it right. All right, thank you. Next, here's another draggable line. This one's fun. Let's see who actually gets this right. What year was Google founded? No searching in Google, okay? Let's see. I know the answer. I'm not gonna choose the right one. I'm gonna put the year I was born. I just told you how old I was. All right, so the Google was actually founded in 1998, the year that I graduated high school. Okay, so that's the fun. You can see how interesting and how fun this is for the kids. They were really interacting with your slides, not just sitting there watching you, right? So let's move on.
Sorry, can I ask a question really quick?
Sure.
As a student, when I put my answer in, I don't have to click submit or anything. It'll just automatically record it. And when I, as a teacher, move to the next slide, like students have to put their answer in before I move to the next one. Is that right?
If it's instructor, yes, they don't need to submit or click or any of that. But the interactive, instructor paste, they'll have to do it before you move on because they're not going to see it. But after this, you can change it into student paste so that they can go back and they can adjust things.
And you can see, like I'm seeing on this particular one, 12 out of 43 have answers. So as a teacher, you could wait until everybody has answer, or if you can see who has an answer, if you have it, that they have to sign in. So you'll be able to see which student has an answer. And we're going to cover that later. Yes.
Thank you. Good question. All right. So draw your favorite animal in 30 seconds. I think some of you may have already done it. So if you can see in this draw slide, I have the option to draw, but also the option to text. So I could put in text in there, but I don't know, Ricardo, for the sake of time, because I'm like 6 minutes behind already right now. Okay, so let's just say that that's my beautiful animal.
It looks exactly like the one you drew with 2 minutes before, but let's move on.
Thank you for sharing that wonderful information. Okay, label the femur. So this, you might think that this is a text entry, but this is not a text entry. This is still a draw entry with the text option on the bottom, because in this option, I can choose where I want the text. So I can put it up here. So, and if you do this as text entry, a text box is just going to show on the side. It doesn't really show where, and I want to be specific with where. So this is the draw. So just keep that in mind later as we play. Okay. And this one, I'm not going to actually do it. You would actually draw it and do your labels and everything. You would recreate that whole thing. It's awesome. Next. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So Gabriel, I added a syllable to your name. I'm sorry. So he's going to go ahead and take us into actually putting Pear Deck into our slides. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you. So we know that we discussed earlier that there's two paths we can go in terms of we can go through Google or we can go the route of Microsoft. We're going to be able to show you how you can do each and briefly mention just one of the limitations inside of one of the platforms. So we're going to start off with Google. So I'm going to show you how you would go about getting this set up for your course, and then I will give you a chance to do this. So let me go ahead and share screen. I assure you it's a very straightforward process and we'll be able to do it fairly quickly. All right, so through here, I just opened up a presentation that I had done through Google. This is a Google slide. If you don't have one, when you get a chance to be able to do this yourself, you can open up any and start any slides. So from here, we're going to go to where we see at the top, add-ons. I'm going to click on add-ons, and what we're looking to do is add the Pear Deck add-on. Now, if you have done this previously, you might see it here, but in my case, I uninstalled it for us so that we can go through the same route that most of us might be in. So I'm going to go to where it says get add-ons. And I'm looking for Pear Deck. Now it kind of populates here with some of the more popular ones, but if you don't happen to see it, you don't want to have to scroll, you always have the beauty of the search right here. So you could just type in Pear Deck if it didn't pop up for you right away. For me, it's there. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to install it. It's a couple little clicks, but it really is pretty straightforward. We don't need any administrative credentials to install this. It's a Google extension that we're installing. You want to make sure that you're using the proper account. So in our case, it's our district account. And it's saying we want to make sure we have access. So you're going to allow us to do all of these things. You could read it over, but most likely we're going to say allow because we want to be able to use this. It has been successfully installed. I'm going to click done. I'm going to close this. Now it automatically opened on the right-hand side, and you'll note because of the column where it says Pear Deck, but I'm going to go ahead and momentarily close this because I want to make sure you feel comfortable in saying, well, I'm not going to install it every time. Where is it going to be, or how am I going to access it if I already installed it, maybe the next day or the next week when I come back? So from here, we're going to go to the same process, which is what? Look at the top, we're going to add-ons, but this time, because it's already been installed, we can see that it's right here. So it says Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on, and I'm going to click open. And on the same thing, I see this column on the far right-hand side, and this is where I'm able to add all of those interactive slides and to be able to use it, okay? So one thing I want to point out, which we'll touch on later, is our template library. When you use it here inside of Google, all of the actual options in terms of those templates, and we'll reference those later, are easily accessible. All you're doing is dragging and placing them into whatever slide or location you'd like, okay? So what I'm going to go ahead and do is we'll say about 2 minutes, maybe 3, for you to open up any slides. And if you don't have a slide, let's just say, for example, you didn't have one, all you need to do is you can come over to here where it says slides. And if you don't find that, you can go to your drive and just a blank slide and you can go through that process. But go ahead and take a couple minutes to be able to install Pear Deck for Google Slides. And then after a couple minutes, we'll come back and we'll do the same process for Microsoft. All right, so whether or not you were able to finish, hopefully you at least saw firsthand how you could go about that. We're going to shift now and look how you would go through that same process, but again in Microsoft. So let me go ahead and pull up a PowerPoint presentation. Now I'm talking about inside of the web-based version of 365. So if you're using, maybe PowerPoint on your actual device, it's slightly different. So here I go, I'm sharing my screen. And I just opened up a PowerPoint presentation that I had done before. So we're doing the same thing. We're bringing in and installing it, but it's not referred to as an add-on like it was inside of Google. Here it's referred to an add-in. So most likely when you open up PowerPoint, you'll note that if you can see on my screen right over here, you are going to be in the home portion of what PowerPoint is. We're going to slide over to where we see the insert. So I'm going to go ahead and click on insert. And again, I'm setting up my Pear Deck. I'm going to come all the way to the far right side and you see where it says add-ins. I'm going to click on add-ins. And similar to the Google platform, we were looking for that. We're going to look for here, Pear Deck. Again, if you don't see it right away, you can just search it. Even if you don't spell it correctly, I think it'll give me what I want. So there's Pear Deck. I'm going to go ahead and click add. It says, would you like to continue? I would. And let's see, looks like it already went through. Now I'm going to come over here on the far right side and note, again, I'm going to point this out, I'm in the home portion. So if you're not seeing something, you make sure you're taking a look in terms of where are you at instead of PowerPoint. Right now I'm back on home and I'm going to the far right. I don't see add-ons anymore, but now I'm looking for these 3 dots. And from those 3 dots, I'm going to go down to where I see this Pear Deck. Again, I'm home. to the far right side where I see 3 dots and going down to where I see Pear Deck. Click on that. And I have to be able to log in, kind of like I went through that process with Google, but this time it's with i365 Office credentials. So I'm going to go ahead and click login. And it says, let's set up your account. So I am a teacher. And this is the same process you're going to go through. I'm going to authorize my account. And now it's signing in. And so again, just slightly different and when you contradict that with Google, but similar process. One of the things we do want to point out that is if you are signing here in this platform, it may sign you out in the other platform. And we can talk about that later if we have time, but I just want to make sure we're aware of now I'm looking at 2 different platforms. I know at this point, some people might be saying, are we supposed to do both? And we will say, honestly, it's whatever you use most frequently. If you have a lot of PowerPoints, then I would probably encourage you to use more of the PowerPoint with Pear Deck. If you have a lot of Google Slides already set up, then that might be a better avenue for you. Easily, I shouldn't say easily, but rather it's possible for us to be able to convert our slides or our PowerPoints and vice versa back and forth. So if that's something you're wanting more information on, let us know. Seems like it's taking a while for me to try to sign in. Why don't I do this? Because again, you've already seen the process. I'll give you a couple minutes and there it goes. Oh, an error occurred. Couldn't get me signed in. You did see firsthand how to be able to do that. So I'll say maybe 2 minutes for you to be able to go. And where did we go? First, we went on to insert. We found the add-ins. And after we found add-ins, we searched for Pear Deck. And after I've done that successfully, I can go to home, those 3 dots, and I'm going down to Pear Deck. Again, I'm using the web-based version of PowerPoint. So I'll give you about a minute to do that. And then I'll touch on one of the limitations or drawbacks using inside of PowerPoint. All right, I'm going to say try to wrap it up if you're in the process. And then I do want to show you, like I mentioned, one of the limitations when using it inside of Office. And so let me go ahead and share screen, and then I'll be able to point that out for you. Of course, once I let you go to install yourself, mine went through. I'm not sure what the glitch or issue was there. But here we have my Pear Deck open just like I saw in Google on the far right side with the column. But earlier I alluded to those template libraries. When you click on it here inside of Microsoft, it's going to redirect you to a different location. Now, could you still insert some of those templates? Absolutely. But the process is just a little bit more lengthy. It's a few more clicks and it takes a bit more of a twist and turn for you. But if you use it inside of Google, it's a little bit more straightforward. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't use Pear Deck inside of Microsoft 365 or inside of PowerPoint. Absolutely. You just want to make sure you're aware of that minor limitation versus compared to what you are doing with Google. Now, Teresa's going to take us away and look at far more in depth how to go about using the different questions as well as templates. So I'll turn it over to her.
All right, thank you, Gabriel. Okay, so now we're going to shift our minds a bit. So we saw the student experience. Now we're going to go in from the teacher end, and we wanted to keep everything familiar so that it's easier for us to transition, but just know that now we're going to be working from the teacher end right now. So we are going to be going into slides and be playing with the tools in Pear Deck. You have a choice. You can watch me. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it as I share screen. Hopefully I am sharing screen, right? So am I? Please hold.
Not yet.
I got so excited. Okay. You can watch me as I share screen, or you can participate by using your own slide. Or if you don't want to use your own slide, I'm actually going to give you a copy of this one I'm on right now. So you could play on your own, but on something that looks exactly the same as what we're doing. Okay. So I'm going to give you that link right now. Down at the bottom of our chat, there's a link and you're going to see something that looks like this. And if you're not familiar with this, this is almost like forced copy. I know a lot of you might know what forced copy is. I just gave you an access to my slide deck right now, but you can't touch mine. You can make your own copy, but this takes it a step further. This gives you a preview first to make sure you really want it. So it shows you a preview. And if you want it, you're going to go to the blue box at the top and you're going to say use template. And if you click on use template, you're going to get a copy of this in your own drive. And then you can go ahead and manipulate it as you see fit. So if you click on use template, then it's going to bring you right here. And now you have this in your own drive. That's your own copy. You can follow along as you see fit. And I'm going to be working from my copy, which is right here. I'm sorry if you hear the noise, there's people behind me. Mine looks slightly different because there's some slides I don't think you need, but let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here I am in my slide deck. Like what Gabriel said, I want to access my Pear Deck. So I click on add-ons, Pear Deck, open Pear Deck add-on. And for those of you who might have installed the Microsoft PowerPoint one, you might have been logged off. So you might have to log on here again. But if you didn't, then you should be here with me. I'm just going to take you through all these tools. So at the very top, there's start lesson. We're not going to start a lesson yet because we haven't built it yet. But just know that when you're going to start a lesson, you can do it in Canvas, which Robert will take us through later on, or you can start a lesson here. You will never go to present on top, because if you click on present from Google Slides, you're just presenting outside of Pear Deck. So nothing is interactive. They're just going to see it. Okay, so just know that you're going to start here or from Canvas. Okay, these 3 lines right here, you have some, of course, you can see how Pear Deck works if you need help. You could share your lesson. This one says require student login. I have that turned on, and I have that turned on intentionally because when I share it with my students, I want them logged in so that later I have the option of getting takeaways, which you don't know what that is yet, but you will soon, and you might want it. But if you don't care about that, you could turn it off, and now everyone can participate with your Pear Deck. Okay, but I have it on right now. You could turn it off if you want. You could review your session, etc. So let me
just to add, Teresa, to that, when Robert teaches you how to use it as an assignment, you do want to have that turned on because you want to be able to see the answers that the kids gave you to give them a grade when you take that grade into the grade book in Canvas.
Thank you. So I think best practice to keep it on, that would be great. But you could turn it off if you want to. Thank you. All right, so this next one, the power up, that's what Ricardo's going to go over when I'm done with my section here. Let's go ahead and move on to template library. These are actual templates. I'm going to click on that little caret. These are templates that you could stick in to your lesson. So not my existing slides, but these are slides I can find. So beginning of the lesson activities, I click on that. Here are some great ones. Follow these instructions. What did you learn from the homework? Type 2 things you already know about today's topic. I simply click on it and it brings it into my slide. And so I'm just waiting for a moment. Suspense. And here it is. And if you don't like where it is, just drag it like normal. Let's say I wanted that in the very beginning. Okay, let me go back. And you have during the lesson activities, checking for understanding, mind mapping, agree, disagree. There are great templates in here. End of lesson, your exit tickets. How are you feeling at the end? Lots of great things here that you don't have to start from scratch. These are great resources. You just simply click it, it brings it in, okay? This next part, learning development, you could have your critical thinking as well. I've seen a lot of teachers use these. I observe, I wonder, and you don't have to add what type of slide it is. It's already there. So once you add this in, it's already a slide that has text. You know, you don't have to do anything else. Okay. This one's a big one, social emotional learning. I'm going to go ahead and add this for the sake of our activity. What is filling your, so I'm just going to check on this one. I'm going to click it. I'm going to wait for it to bring it in. And there it is. And I actually want it before this one. So I'm going to drag it up. And here, this is a draw slide because my students, what they're going to do is they're going to type a text where they want it. That's why I chose a draw slide for that one. Okay, let's do this one too so I can demonstrate one more thing. So here I am still in templates. I'm going to move it up. Okay, just because you're using a template doesn't mean that you can't personalize it to what you need. So I'm in a template right now, and look at, I could actually change the information here. Spell correctly. Okay, and I can even change my icon. Maybe I don't like this fellow right here and I want to change it to my emoji. I don't know. You can change it. You can move him. You can delete him, whatever you want. Down here, when you see this at the bottom, this little, the mascot for Pear Deck, his name is Perry, very cute. So if you see Perry down here, this tells you it's an interactive slide deck, a slide with Pear Deck. So if you don't like that, maybe you have some text at the bottom of your slide and Perry is hiding it, you can move it. You can move it anywhere. Oops, just kidding. You can move it anywhere you want, but do not delete it, because if you delete it, then it's no longer going to be interactive with Pear Deck. So I can even move it completely off my slide. Maybe I don't want it to appear for the kids at all. I can move it off my slide. Where is it off my slide? Down here. There it is. So now my kids won't see it at all, but Pear Deck still knows I'm still going to do the activity with them. Okay, so you can move it anywhere you want, just don't delete it. So these are, even though these are templates, you can do whatever you want with them. Okay, so let me go back. So here we are. There are also subject area slides as well. So you have sample questions. You have for the littles, K-2. These are great. You can go through, oh, there's just so much in here. We could spend hours and hours just building things. You can go by subject matter. We have math ones in here. I'm not going to bring these in. You already saw. Insert your prompt, like a timeline, a number line, everything. So I'm going to go back. So now I'm actually going to go into the tools. So I think you get how templates work. You just bring them in. Okay. So now I'm actually going to use the tools. I'm going to delete some things for the sake of our presentation later. You just delete them like normal slides. So this is the one I want for later. All right. So now I'm actually going to go into the slides. So what I did was I took the slide deck from earlier and I just removed all of the Pear Deck tools and I'm going to add them back in with you together. So here I am on this face. And what is it that I wanted the students to do? I wanted them to drag an object around. So I would simply go to the tools on the side. You have text, choice, number, website, draw, and draggable. I wanted them to drag, so I'm going to click on it. I'm going to wait patiently. And then I'm going to tell them what I want it to drag. If I want a dot, I could choose a dot. I could add another one. Maybe I want them to drag different things. I can choose a different icon. I think earlier we had a person, so I can go to the person. That's the one that I want. Okay, I can change the size a little bit bigger. I'm going to update the slide and suspense. And there you go. Now, when the students see it, they're going to be able to drag that person around. Okay, so that's a drag one. Here's the next one. What do you want to know about Pear Deck? What am I asking here? I want them to respond, and I don't care where it is. I'm going to do it as a text. So on the right, I'm going to choose text. Those of you who are working on your own copy, please feel free to play throughout. I'm just doing this for those who are not following along on their own. I just simply add text and I don't have to do anything else. So now that's it. So when students go in, they could click in, they could type in their response to that prompt. This next one, how would a former student describe you? This is also text. I would just click text. See how easy it is? These are my existing slides. I'm just making them interactive very easily. Perfect. So now they can type that in. How many books? So this is not text. This is actually number. So I'm going to go to the right and I'm going to click on number. And when the students go to this, then they can choose a number from the dropdown. It's easy. Okay. Number 10 was not interactive. It was just for them to see. So I'm not going to do that. Number 11, how good are you at, I need to know how to read. How good are you at graphing mathematical equations? This one was multiple choice. So I'm going to go to the right and I'm going to select choice. And let's see what happens. Multiple choice, yes, get it, yeah, I get it. So now I'm going to give it the options. And I think the first one was, it's so funny. The first one was good enough to be dangerous. That's obviously not me, but maybe some of you in here, DRE probably. And Gabriel. Okay, so this one was graphing mathematical equations is my jam. And so any options you want to add here really, and you can add more if you want. Okay, and I'm going to update slide. And now when the students come in from their view, they're going to see that just like what you did earlier. Okay. So this next one, this was the really cool one I was talking to you about where you add the website on the side. And I think we added the Desmos calculator in there. So I'm going to go ahead and add a website. It's over here on the very right, website. And I'm going to grab that website. Keep in mind your website has to have HTTPS in it. There it is. So here's the website that I want. I'm going to update it. And again, you can't see it in here. You're going to have to trust that it works. But I could see at the bottom that that's the website they're going to open. And then when the students see it, they'll see it side by side. Okay. Or if you're on your phone, you'll see it on the next one. What kind of lines are the two you graphed in the previous questions? This is multiple choice. And I already showed you multiple choice, so I'm not going to demo it. Actually, you know what, I am, because we're using this for an activity. Just kidding. Check my time. I think I'm still okay on time, everyone. So thank you for your patience. Do this perpendicular, parallel, vertical, and I'm going to add one more. horizontal, update slide. And so now that will show for the kids. Okay, this next one. How well do you understand what we just covered? You can choose here. Do you want them to have multiple choice or do you want them to drag? I think I would want them to drag. So I'm just going to choose drag. And I think a dot is fine. Update slide. And then they're just going to move the dot to however they feel. Okay. This is the premium. Here's the place a pin on any state. So this would be draggable as well. Just add that in real quick. I'm just going to say yes, because I know it's going to be the red dot. I'm just going to update it. That's it. We're done with that one. Number 19, oh, sorry, slide 19, where is the equator? This was also draggable, but this was a line. So you would go to draggable. And then I'm reading Diori's comment on the top, on the side because he's so funny. Okay, I would add a line instead. So I wanted a horizontal line. Update slide, and that's what it would be. It would be the horizontal line that they're moving up and down. Okay, and then the next one was slide 21, and I wanted the vertical line. So again, that was draggable. So I think you're getting the picture now, right? I'm just kind of repeating myself at this point, but hopefully, as I go through, you're getting more and more comfortable. Update slide. And there we go. Almost done, folks. Okay, gonna move on. Draw your favorite animal in 30 seconds. I'm gonna let you guess which one it is. It's not text. Okay, it is the draw function. So you just click on draw. And then wait patiently. Again. And now when your students go in, they have the option to draw and also put text wherever they want on the slide. Okay, this next one, label the femur. Like I said, this isn't text. This would also be draw because I want them to draw in a certain spot or type the text in a certain spot, not in an outside box. Okay, so I would put draw for that. This next one is also draw because they're recreating it. I'm going faster than I thought. I'm impressed. So this next one I put here worksheet because I want to show you how to add a worksheet because a lot of you are using other things like Kami and things like that, but you could actually do it here. So I can go online and find a picture of my worksheet and take a screenshot of it, or you could use your phone and take a picture of the worksheet. I already took a picture on my phone, so you can insert it as an image, or I love to use Google Keep. If you don't know, you have this feature right here on the side of your slides. There's this Google Keep right here. I click on it. And there's the picture from my phone. So I'm just going to drag that in. That looks funny. Okay. And I'm going to try to adjust it. Well, we're going to pretend that it looks great. Okay, so I just dragged it. You could copy and paste it in as well. Let me if I make it skinnier. Sorry, I could spend forever trying to format this properly, but I'm not going to. What I would normally do is if I'm doing a worksheet, I would change the dimensions of my slide. I would make my slide, so file, page setup. I would actually change my slide to be 8.5 by 11 because that's what size my worksheet really is. So I would put 8.5 by 11. And now my slide is actually the size of a worksheet, and it will bring it in and it will fill up the slide, and it would look just like a worksheet that they could draw all over. But I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to affect the rest of my slides. So I'm just going to do that. We'll just pretend that looks perfect. Okay, everyone. So now I'm going to add the draw function. And now my students can go in there and they could draw their answers or they could type their answers. So they can go directly on this worksheet and do whatever they need to do to answer the questions. Okay. This next one, I just put this here to prompt me. I'm going to put a video in here, so a YouTube video. And the reason why we wanted to show you this, even though we showed you how to add a website, is that you might have to get a little tricky here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to website. I'm going to click right here. So YouTube sometimes doesn't have the HTTPS. I could do that and it says, oh, it's sad face. I don't have the HTTPS here, but I'm going to bring it here. If you go to share at the bottom of your YouTube video that you want to share, it has it right here. So you would copy that one. And if it doesn't, because sometimes they don't, I don't know why. Sometimes they don't. You can go into the embed code and you can find it right here.
And this will be the same case with like Edpuzzle or Loom videos or Google Maps or Forms. So if you don't find it, this is the workaround to embed it and then copy the link from there.
So all those great things he just mentioned, if it's not working, because it's like, it doesn't have that HTTPS, all you have to do is go to the embed code and find it. Okay, and then I would copy that. And then now, out of the way, please. Now I can add it with that. Oh, just kidding. I didn't actually copy it. Redo. Oh, gracious. Please hold. I'm going into the embed code and actually stealing it from there because it didn't work. There you go. And there it is. And I'm going to update slide. And now it's going to stick that video inside of in this slide right here. Okay. Ricardo, I am 2 minutes faster than I expected. So do you mind if I give them 1 minute to play a little bit? And then we bring them into that extension? Is that fine? Okay, we're going to give you a moment to play. And then Ricardo's going to show you an awesome extension. And I'm not going to talk about it because I'm just going to mess it up. I know it. So just about a minute to kind of play in there a little bit.
Can I ask a quick question?
Go for it, Amy.
Do you have to like click on each slide and click draw, or can you like say put draw on all slides?
You have to click them individually.
All right.
But I'm going to try it right now because I acted like I knew what I was saying, but let's see. Yes, so I clicked on 3 slides and it showed up on the last one. So yeah, you'd have to do it individually. Good question though. And if you want it to not be interactive anymore, you just simply go to Perry at the bottom and just delete it. And now it's just a regular slide in case you change your mind. Okay. Oh, I did forget something. Sorry, everyone, while you're playing around, I forgot something that was so important. Okay. I'm going to go to one of my slides. I'm just going to go this one. In the premium version, you have the option to add audio. You know, those kids who are like over and over, like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Like 20 times. You can record yourself giving the instructions so they can just play your voice repeatedly instead of unmuting and bothering you. Not that they would ever do that, but just in case. Okay, so right here, I just chose this slide because there's actual words there. So on the side, you have add audio to slide. And if you don't see this, it's because you're not on your premium account. Make sure you're logged on to the right one. Okay, so I'm going to click on add audio. Please hold. So I'm going to move this over so I can see what I'm going to say. Oh, there. So, okay, ready? What kind of lines are the 2 you graphed in the previous question? And then I could save that. I could review it. I'm going to add it to the slide. And now when the students go in there, especially if it's not instructor paced, if it's student paced, it'll show up over here on the top right. So you have to teach the students to go there. So as they're doing it by themselves and they're like, oh, I don't know what this means. They can click on that and it will actually, they can listen to your recording. You don't have to read what it says. You could simply say like, you guys, click on it. I don't know, whatever instruction you want to give verbally. So I almost forgot that. Oh my goodness. All right, so Ricardo, I think we're ready for that extension that we're going to talk about. And you're muted.
Yes, that audio slide or add the audio to the slide is great. But as we all know, we have all built so much content already. We created so many Google Slides probably to use in our classes. And a lot of times we add animations to them. We add videos, right? You might add GIFs. And you have noticed that the moment you turn them into a Pear Deck, what happens is that the videos or the memes become static, right? It's just a picture of the video, but you can't click it. The video won't play, right? Or you see a meme and you can't click it either, so it's not gonna work, okay? So the extension that I put on the chat right now, or the link that I put, will allow you to add the extension. Also, for some of you guys that don't have the extension, when Teresa went to Pear Deck on her Google Slides, you actually saw a link to add it. So some of you might have it there, but if you don't, it's on the link that I put on right now. And again, what it does is that it actually makes those videos that you already have on those Google Slides or those animations or those memes maybe actually makes them work when you turn them into a Pear Deck. And we're going to show you what that looks like really right now. Okay, so do you want me to do it from here, Teresa?
Yes,
On
please.
my side? So let me go ahead and share my screen really over here. And then you're going to see that I'm going to start that same presentation that Teresa was using because she made me a co-teacher. And I'm going to go in here and I'll start a new session. Okay. Oh, and obviously it wants me to log in with Google because I'm logged in with Microsoft right now. And give me 1 second. But now, as a teacher, I'm going to start my Pear Deck presentation, and then obviously we'll have people join, our students join the Pear Deck. Oh, let's go, here it goes. Okay, and if I can have maybe one of the TOSAs just joined, just so we can see it, or maybe if you want to join with us, you can do it too. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I put the link on the chat for you to join. I'll just wait for one person to join. Okay, so now that I have someone in there, what I want you to see is that as I present, okay, I had a video in there, and notice that the video is now playable. So now I am controlling the pace of the video. If I want, maybe I'm teaching present progressive in my Spanish class, and I played the video, I want all the kids to be in the same part of the video. I don't want them to skip ahead. I don't want them to go back. I don't want them to skip. So now I played the video. They're all watching my screen. They're listening to it.
And I'm in as a student and my screen is blank. So you're going to get lots of kids saying, I don't see anything, but they're not supposed to.
You should be able to hear
Here are 4
it.
different ways of expressing the future in Spanish and English.
And then maybe now that I played that part of the video, I want to ask a question, and I could have the question already added in there. But notice that I always, as a teacher, can add a new prompt that the students are going to answer. So I come in here, I play the video, I pause it, and I do new prompt, and I add the question right in there. So the students are going to follow the video exactly the same way that I want them to see it, as I'm pausing, as I'm explaining, as I'm teaching, and so on and so on. It's a great tool to have, and you can only get this with the extension that we put on the chat. Another example of this would be something like this. Notice how that meme is actually moving around. If it was just the student, if it was just taken with the regular Pear Deck, that wouldn't move. So that's kind of a great tool to have, okay? So that's what the extension does for you, okay?
Can you talk about switching it to students paced because of the videos of what just happened?
Sure. So if I come in here and let's say that I go back over here and I switch it to now student pace, what's gonna happen is, you wanna show that, Teresa, on your side? Because you're a student?
We'll just tell them it's fine. So when he switches to students paced, now it's not blank for me anymore. Now I can actually watch it at my own pace. So it just flips it. That's why you need the extension. So you don't have to really think about it. So student pace, now I can go in as a student and just view it at my own pace.
We're going to be taking a look at the teacher dashboard. So a couple things as you're kind of going, and I know there was a question earlier that makes very much a lot of sense, is we're kind of wondering, like, I see you doing all these things, but kind of what is the teacher side of it? How does it look to me while my students are actually going? And while there are a lot of features afforded to you, biggest thing I want to make sure we always point out is, how are you choosing to use it? Meaning, are you going to be able to go about it as teacher guided, where you're kind of controlling the pace? Or is it maybe something you're thinking students might do asynchronously, where it's a student pace? And I think that's a big, obviously, deciding factor for you in terms of the setup. So let me go ahead and start my lesson. I'm using the same deck that Teresa was manipulating, and you saw her working it through. I'm going to go in terms of it being instructor paced, but there are some slight differences. You still have some of the same features that I'm going to be showing you. One of the biggest differences, I think, is you'll be able to see if you went for student paced. Let me go ahead and share my screen. If you went student paced, you'd be able to see where your students are at, because they could potentially be at different places at the slides at different times. And so you have a little indicator for you to be able to see where they're at. Now we're looking at the teacher pace, so it's going to be slightly different, but we're really focusing on what are some of the features afforded to us while my students are answering some of these questions and interacting with the slides. So I have my screen shared. And let's see if any of the TOSAs or if anyone out there wants to pop in. This is the same exact deck, so it's not as if we're seeing things new, but we're more focused on what does it look like for me from the perspective of the teacher as my students are interacting with it. And I know someone had asked earlier, well, when would you start? Like, how do you know? And so right now I just see the amount of students that are populating here. And I know if I know how many students are in my class, whether or not it's the bulk of them, all of them, so that I can know when to start. Now, one of the things I was trying to help Ricardo earlier when he popped on, and I was like, oh, I didn't catch it in time. He already started the class. But you could always note in the upper right-hand corner, for the most part, if your students pop in late, if they go to join PD, maybe they're not using your link, they do have available to them displayed in the corner the code. So if they needed to get in for whatever reason, they still have access to that. So we're here, and at the very bottom, you see this is the toolbar that we're going to really focus on. Now, as the teacher, I'm controlling the pace, meaning I'm controlling where my students are at. I'm going to progress it at the pace that I feel is necessary. If I had questions, and doesn't have any just yet, I might wait to see how many responses I had. So for example, I'm going to progress along. Here's one that just says, what's filling your bucket today? And I might wait to see who responds before. Right now I see it says 0 responses. I have 1 of the 5 people that are here, 2 of the 5 people here, and I can wait as long as I kind of felt necessary. Or if I feel like, you know what, it's enough for me to go off of to be able to share, I'm going to go ahead on the right side I'm looking at, where I'm going to click on where it says show responses. Now, when I click on show responses, I might be able to see as I scroll down, what are some of the different things that my student have responded. Now, for me, if I'm thinking this is a teacher end, they're doing it on their own. When I'm ready for me to be able to display, I'm here. But I do have the features available to me. And I think on the upper left-hand corner, I want to point out to you, it's defaulted to the list layout, which is what I'm looking at. So I'm scrolling down to see what everyone has stated. But let's say, for example, maybe you kind of want to get just an overview. What are my students saying? What are they doing? So I can click right here where it says grid layout. And if you're familiar with Google Slides, you've probably seen something like this before. And now I'm looking at here all of the things that my students are responding, and I can get an idea, oh, maybe this is the one that I really wanted to highlight, and I can show just that one. So just understanding that you have the ability to change these features. This next one, I say, depends upon what you're trying to show your students. In this particular case, it wouldn't make as much sense. What I'm talking about is the overlay. So let's say, for example, maybe you had the draw earlier, or maybe earlier, I know we were looking for the equator. I might click on that to get an idea of where's where the bulk of my students are responding and thinking, and then we can have a conversation centered around that. So I want to make sure we point out, what are we looking at? We're on the responses. And then I went up to the top left where I could kind of adjust what is the layout that I'm looking at. The first one, which is defaulted, is the list layout where you're scrolling and looking at each response. The second one is those grids where you're looking at all of the zoomed out, what your students are responding on one particular slide or one page. And then here's the overlay where everything's all on one. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click hide responses. So now my students aren't seeing it. We're progressing again through it. Let's say we looked at a different one. This might be something where you might want to do for the overlay. I see some responses already here. But let's say, for example, you want to stop. I want to have some conversations. I just clicked on the lock, meaning what? Any of my students that were wanting to respond or were in the process of responding, I might pause them. And that's because I locked responses. This is me, and I don't know about you, but in my experience, if I have my kids drawing things, it can go really well, but it can also go the other direction. So I've had experiences where maybe, for example, we were working and then I start having conversations about what I've seen, but some students are off task and they're still doodling and messing things around. And so at that point, you may want to lock the screen, show whatever you want to show, and then come back and unlock it so that for the next 2 questions. But I want to make sure you understand you have the power to control what your students are able to do or not in terms of can they have access to it or not. So that's a really important feature I want to make sure we point out. I'm going to unlock the screen, and then let's say we can go ahead and show responses. We had a few of them. And if I wanted to, let's see if they're moving it. So that's the one thing. I was one time working in a workshop with teachers. I was going off some of the responses I had, and the answers right in front of me were changing around. So that lock feature might be really important for us. But I want to make sure that when you look at the overlay, which is where we're at right now, you're kind of seeing everything at once. And I think that again, depending upon what you're trying to accomplish, just these simple little layouts, I think, can be really powerful tools for yourself. So let's go ahead and progress on. And let's see, I see on my left-hand side where I'm looking at everything. If you didn't already notice that, that's because I went to click over here. So as opposed to going next, 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 which of course you can do. If you're familiar with any presentations, PowerPoints or slides, you sometimes get to see, well, I want to jump to this slide, or I want to jump to this point of the presentation. So you could easily click on this. It expands, and now I'm going ahead and dragging down to say, oh, I wanted to pop into this particular question. And so you might go there, okay? So my students now are seeing exactly what I'm clicking on because, again, it's instructor-led or instructor-paced. The other thing I want to touch on, which I think is really important, is the ability to have co-teachers. Sometimes maybe you have a TA or maybe you and somebody else are simultaneously trying to work on something. Right now, and for a very long time, it was only I'm the teacher, I'm controlling it, and it's just me. But more recently, they've released where you have the ability to allow co-teachers, meaning what? You and another colleague or somebody else might be able to have access and do some of the same controls that I'm doing in this particular Pear Deck right now. And how do you go about that? See these 3 dots on the far right side? Here's one way. You can click on it, and then you have options. You have make full screen, you have open dashboard or new window, but I'm going to go all the way down to where we see, and I noticed that I don't have that feature, of course, but I should have one where it says being able to control for a co-teacher. Does anyone understand why I'm not seeing that right now?
You can open in a new window and then click on the top right where the code is, and you can add a teacher that way.
So we'll go about it a different way. Sure. Thank you. So it's here, and let's see.
The blue. You can add a teacher by clicking on teacher at the top.
There it is.
Mhm.
And you can invite a co-teacher. And then this link, all I have to do is copy it, and then I can provide it to a colleague or anyone else, and then they would be able to see the same exact thing that I'm seeing. So for example, if I were to place this on the link, and I think, let's see, there's a couple people that are here, but if I shared it with anyone or all of you, then you would all be able to see from the teacher's perspective that what I'm seeing. This is not something you probably want to share out with all of your students, but I'm thinking if you have a TA, or maybe there's someone in the class, maybe they're teacher for the day, and you want them to have some control over a portion of it, you could provide them with that access. So they would be able to pause, they would be able to lock, they'd be able to show, just like we're doing right now. So just want to make sure.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. The great thing about that we've seen is that they can also provide feedback. So maybe you have an activity that's just so dense in feedback. So while you're doing it, another teacher can be doing it too. And also, but just know that if they forward the slide, that they have the same control as you do. So the kids will be moved according to their control as well.
So if I were to pop into this question, and let's say I went to show responses. Oh, I don't think it's the right question I was looking at. Oh, here's my responses for my students. I'm not seeing. Can you see, explain maybe why, Teresa, I'm not seeing some of the options that I should be for my responses and feedback from my students here?
So whenever you are showing these responses to all of the students, obviously Pear Deck does not want to put a kid on the spot that didn't respond or might have the wrong answer. So it will never show what student responded, like the name of it. However, under your teacher dashboard, you could see each person. So if you go to the 3 dots, Gabe, next to N, and you open dashboard in the new window,
yeah, he has it already.
That is going to show you the students that actually responded and what it looks like, the responses.
Just close out of the little the X below that. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna open it again.
And this is where it shows you all the information. This is what you would have showed your kids.
Right there.
So if I were to click right here, this is where you could provide feedback to your students. So you have these 3 little options. This one being feedback. So let's say a student responded with something, and again, you have access to go back later. So it's not like you have to do it in the moment. Maybe later that same evening or later that week, you might be able to respond and see what your students are saying. But right there, your students are typing things up. You might be able to say, awesome, good job, or maybe try something different. And then you could send that feedback. So it's just that instant communication feature that's afforded to us. The other thing that you have is the star your answer. So you're just kind of, if you're organizing and looking at things you might want to go back to later, you have that available to you. And then these 3 dots is just for you to hide the response if that's not something you wanted to see. So I'm thinking maybe if this is something you want to do while your students are responding, so that you might be able to say, when I want to show my responses or show answers, my students are only seeing what I want them to see. This is not something you probably want displayed if you're sharing screen like I'm doing. This is more so if you want to maybe put it off to the side. If you have a couple different screens, maybe you move this to the other screen so you can able to manipulate what you need here. And then everyone, when you share screen for the show responses, is seeing the other stuff there.
So how do you get to there again?
So we went, good question. We went to the 3 dots on the bottom right corner, and then we clicked on where it says open dashboard. Now, some of the other benefits I've heard of people saying, maybe I don't have multiple screens, but maybe I have a phone or I have a tablet, as opposed to you being able to manipulate that there, you can open it on a new device. So maybe you want to be able to control from your iPad, and you want to be able to have access to see and manipulate these things on a different device. You have that option as well.
And that is the screen that you will use to grade if that's what you want to do with it when you put it in Canvas, because you'll be able to see the name of the kids plus their answers.
All right. That's the bulk of what I wanted to cover. Is there anything that I had missed off that someone else felt like they wanted to add to? All right, so again, that teacher interface, really powerful, and this gives you the control, I think, to be able to either increase or expand upon certain things that your students are responding to. So it makes it that much more of an interactive experience because you're controlling what they're seeing and what they're doing.
Something that we might not be aware of is that in addition to being able to use Pear Deck inside of Google Slides and also inside of PowerPoint, we have some very powerful tools if you go straight to peardeck.com. And I put the link on the chat right now. And if you want to go there, you can kind of follow along. This is in addition to having some great tools, this is the easiest way for me to switch and toggle between both Google and Microsoft. This makes it easier for me. I'm going to go to teacher login. And I'm going to start with PowerPoint and I'll end with Google for a reason. But let me go with PowerPoint. And when I go in there, again, we have premium features for both, for PowerPoint and also for Google Slides. It's going to take me in. And when I go in here, what I want you to see, I'm going to go from left to right, just to go over what we have here. The first thing under home is that you see that you can start a brand new Pear Deck for PowerPoint starting from here. If I click on it, it's basically going to open a brand new PowerPoint file that I can start. So I don't have to do this under Office 365 under PowerPoint. I can do it straight from there. It creates the first slide that you guys have all seen, and I can start adding things from here. So I can do it from peardeck.com if I wanted to do that. Okay? So there's no need to do it from the other one. Also, maybe I want to use an entry slip or an exit slip or something just to check for understanding. Okay? I can come in here. I can choose a prompt quickly. I don't have to go to PowerPoint and so on and so on. And we've seen all those wonderful beginning of class, during class, end of class. And maybe I just want to do a KWL just in the instant. And I take them in there and I give the kids the link and they'll be able to just do that particular slide. Okay. I don't have to build it inside of my Google Slides. It's just checking for understanding right on the spot. So great tool to have. Let me log in again. I close my window. I'm sorry. Let me go back in there. Sorry about that. Oh, great. Let me go back. It's going to go in right now. Sorry. I always do that. So let me go to peardeck.com again. Sorry about that. Okay, let me log in again, just so you see it. That was my fault. Okay, so that's the pop-up activities. Another great thing that you have, if you are logged in under your Office 365 credentials, you're going to see that at the bottom, it actually opens your OneDrive. And any Pear Decks that you've created are going to be available for you right in here. So you don't have to go into PowerPoint. You don't have to look for it. It's going to be right in here. And you can open files from OneDrive from here too. Okay. The other stuff that it's in here, it's similar to the options in Google Slides or Google. So let me switch to Google now, just so you can see it. So let me go log in with Google. So you can see it. So again, easy to toggle between Microsoft or Google. It's the same credentials. And now we saw start a lesson straight from here. It's the same thing as Office 365 does. Pop-up activities, we saw that too. But you have something incredible here. And as a Spanish teacher, a language teacher, this is great. It's called Pear Deck Vocabulary or Pear Deck Flashcard Factory set, okay? You can basically transform the way you engage students with vocabulary. You can have students collaborate to illustrate and define terms. And I'm going to show you how this works, okay? This only works with the Google account right now. It doesn't work with the Microsoft one, so that's why I went to Google. But let me go and create a vocab list. I'm going to do this right now, okay? And it's going to go in there, and I'm just going to call this one, let's just call it shapes, okay? So it'll make it easier for me, okay? And then the great thing about it is that you can import a list if you already have it. Okay, at the end you can export and you can also share. But let's go in here and I'm just going to go, my first term is going to be a circle. And notice that I don't have to type the definition. I can come in here, say definition, and it's going to give me 3 or 4 definitions. And I can just pick one. I think I like this one. Let me add another term. Okay, let's do a square. Okay, definition. I'm just going to pick the first one again. Let me add one more. And let's do rectangle. How about that? Okay, definition. Let me add it. Okay, and I can continue to add my vocab in here, okay? I'm just gonna use 3, okay? But now I'm ready, and I wanna use this and play with my students, okay? So we're gonna play Flashcard Factory with them. I'm going to click on it, and it's going to start it for me. And I'm gonna ask the tech tosas, or any of you that wanna join, please, so we can play together. Okay,
not muted.
okay, so let's go ahead and see it on the projector. And if you can go to joinpd.com and join with this link, if you can help me, that would be great. Someone said I'm really zoomed in, so maybe I can make it a little bit bigger. I hope that's okay. Well, let's wait for some people to join. So again, joinpd.com, and it's QLPPDT. And I'll give you about maybe 10 seconds to join. We just need some people so you can see what it looks like, okay? Okay, perfect. So now we're ready to go in. So we're gonna clock in. It's time to go to the factory. So let's go ahead and it automatically shuffles your teams. Okay, so by default, it put some of you on this side, the day shift, and put some of you in the night shift, okay? If I want to, I can shuffle the teams, okay, randomly, okay? But I'm gonna leave it like that right now, okay? And now what I want you to see, let's play. And what you're going to see on your screen now, it's that for some of you guys, it's actually asking you to draw the term. So maybe it says draw a circle.
You want me to share my screen, Ricardo?
Yeah, if you can. And for some of you, it might be saying, I want you to define it in your own words. So give an example. Go ahead, Teresa. And not everybody gets the same because the students are working together in teams. Even though they're not together, they are working together. So Teresa was assigned for drawing a square, okay? And then another person in her team was assigned to give the definition. So she cannot continue until her team member. That's the example. So hopefully whoever's helping Teresa can do the example so she can submit. There we go. So we can see it. So now think about our kids working together. I see someone that put one in. And then I'm done writing. Go ahead and do I'm done writing. Oh, let's do it, Teresa. Go ahead. Let's do a couple of them just so we have enough. And now she's waiting for her teammate to draw that circle, to draw that shape or that definition, whatever it might be. Okay? And there it is. So now they're ready to put it in there. Okay. And let's see if we can do one more. Thank you, Orange team. I see one come in. I see two come in. Very nice.
I'll show them your view now.
Okay. And I'm going to go back to my view now. And now that the students have worked together, I can see that they turn in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 definitions for me to look at. Okay, so now we're gonna look at them together. So let's go ahead and move on. So I see 3 of 3 right now. Let's go to quality control with the class. So now you're showing your screen and I'm looking. Okay, guys, what do we think? Does that work? Yeah. And I think it's good. So I'm gonna approve this one. So let's give it the seal of approval. So that one's gonna go into our vocab list, okay? When we decide to use it to play GIMP later on, which I'm not gonna do today because it'll take too much time, but I wanna show you. How about this one? Let's see, it's good, but let's pretend that this one is not good. I can say, no, we're not gonna approve this one. And notice that now my orange team did not get any points while my blue team has 1 point and they're winning right now, okay? So now the kids are really excited about this square. Just to be fair, we're gonna reject this one from the blue team. And now let's give this one but they didn't put the definition entire, but I'm going to give it to them right, okay? So now we have that one. So now we got a tie, and then we're gonna do the same thing. Let's approve that one, okay? So now we have our set, okay? Now I can print the set for my students if I want to, or I can export to GIMP Live, okay? And I can come in here and do this, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm just gonna call it shapes. If you have never used GIMP, it's amazing. We'll make a video maybe when we do student engagement and we talk about quizzes and Quizlet, we'll show you this, but I'm gonna export to GIMP Live, and now our students will be able to play some incredible games that are available in GIMP. So we won't touch that today, but notice how automatically it brought our stuff with the answers and so on and so on. And if I wanted to log in and play a game, I can use it now. Something that we created in Pear Deck now becomes a game in GIMP. Okay, so that's a great tool to have. And it's called Flashcard Factory. And it's available, again, if you go through peardeck.com. Okay, that's how you get it. Okay, let's go back. Okay, I'm gonna leave this for a second. So that I just gave you just a brief idea of how that works. We do have a video on YouTube that you can watch with the same instructions that I just did right now. So let's go back in. So again, same idea. Notice that at the bottom, now instead of having your OneDrive, now you have your Google Drive. So you'll be able to see any Pear Decks that you've created right in here, and you can start them all from here now, okay? Same idea that you had before. In addition, if I go to the top and I go to the right to sessions, you'll be able to see any sessions that you've done with the students throughout your whole Pear Deck experience, okay? Let's say that I started using this particular student pace session yesterday, and I decided that I didn't want them to continue under the student pace. I wanted to continue this today with my class. I can come in here, I can go to the side, and I can do the classroom view, I can do the teacher view, and I can come in here and I can go end session or resume session. So now if I click here, it resumes the session from yesterday. I do not lose the answers that the students put in yesterday, and we continue with the ones that we haven't finished yet. So a great tool to have right under sessions right here, okay? Let's say that it gets really crowded and you want to get rid of some of them. Just go to the three dots and you can archive. And basically you can clean up your Pear Deck sessions and they go to archive. They do not delete. We are trying to figure out if there's a way to delete them, but you can always restore, okay? So that kind of gives you an idea of sessions. I'm going to move all the way to the right to where my picture is. I'm going to click, and I want you to see under my account. We have some really great features right here, okay? So we know that we're premium, and right next to it, there's a setting, okay? And in here, you are used to that first slide that comes out where the happy face, the unhappy face. You can leave that on or you can turn it off. That's completely up to you. If you don't want your students to be seeing that every time, you could turn that first slide off. You also have the ability to have a feedback slide at the end. You know, tell me how the Pear Deck went. No, give me your opinion and so on and so on. So you can have the mood only, you can have the feedback only, or you can have both of them always there, okay? Immersive Reader. You are probably all familiar with Immersive Reader. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second, but basically it allows the students to take that slide, those instructions that you have, and be able to read it, be able to slow it down, be able to play it, be able to translate it. We'll show you if we have time to how that works. Google Classroom, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to skip it. And there's something called takeaways, okay? And takeaways basically helps you extend the lesson beyond the class period, okay? You can leave specific feedback for the students if you wanted to. You can go back and give it as homework. You can have the kids review the lesson. You can have them do so many things, okay, with it. So let me show you what that looks like. In order for takeaways to work, you have to turn it on and the students have to be logged in when you do it. So we have done our Pear Deck session already. So let me just see if I have one in here. So let's go ahead and go to one of my Pear Deck sessions. Let's go in here. Let me go to recent. So I'm just going to open one of them. So we are done, right? We went through it. Maybe I'll have Teresa do one. Teresa, do you mind doing one really quick so we can show what the takeaways look like? And if anyone else can help us out. So I'm going to basically present this with Pear Deck as it logs in. Give me 1 second, just so you can see what the takeaways look like. So I'm going to go to add-ons. I'm going to go to Pear Deck. I'm going to open. Okay, I'm ready. I'm going to show you a trick really quick, okay, for accessibility, okay? I love captions. I think captions are such a big tool when it comes to teaching distance learning, okay? If you are quick enough and you hit start lesson, okay, and you move really quick down over here after you say that you want it to be teacher or instructor pace, and I come down here and I click my captions fast enough, you will see that now at the bottom of my Pear Deck, once it starts, once someone joins, it's going to start right now. Okay, let's go ahead and go in. Okay, you're going to see that my captions are enabled. So I'm using a Pear Deck, but on the bottom of my slide deck, I have captions that the students can follow along as I am speaking. So I'm going to throw in the link if someone else wants to join us, just for a couple of them, just so you see what the takeaways look like, okay? So here we go. So I'll wait for maybe one more person to join. And again, I love the captions. So if you're fast enough, start lesson, instructor pace, captions, and it will do it for you. Okay, so we have one person. So let me go and start the class. It's okay. Oh, two, there you go. Start class. Okay, we'll go through a couple of them. So this is the video, right? That I can play it. Remember, I'm gonna go to one of them, a question right here. So hopefully you guys can answer this particular question. Was that a question, Teresa, that we had to answer? Yes, right?
Let's do that
Okay.
one.
Let's do one. Let's do two, and then we'll stop. We won't do many. Okay, and let's do, I see 1, 2 responses. Okay, and let's do one more. Okay, someone can do this one? It's okay, sorry.
Thank you for
It's
not
because I
letting
know I'm going to run out of time. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to end this, okay? Let's just give it a name. Delete. Save and end session, okay? But what I want you to see, now I have takeaways, okay? What it does, I can share them with the class, but if I don't want to share it with the class, what it did for me, it actually created inside my Google Drive, okay? It created a folder that is called Pear Deck. Inside of it, it created a folder that is called takeaways. Also, my vocab is in there when I show you the factory, but I'm going to go to takeaways, okay? And now I can extend the lesson, okay? And I'm going to go just to one of them. It doesn't matter which one I go to, okay? So this was one that I use. Here are my takeaways. And now I will have 25 different documents or whatever students did this with me. And I can come in here and I can go to this one that belongs to Teresa. And now I can share this with Teresa. And I said, okay, Teresa, this will give you an idea of what your answers were in our Pear Deck. I want you to look at them. I want you to think about how you did. And I want you to summarize your thoughts about the lesson. So now Teresa comes in here and she can go and summarize what she thought about. She can see what she did right, what she did wrong. I can provide instant feedback with the takeaways, and only that particular student can see that. So very, very powerful tool to use if you want to enable takeaways. Again, you will do it from peardeck.com, from your account, and that's how you will turn that on. Okay, thank you so much.
Can you go over the steps again for that takeaway slowly?
Sure. I know I'm going really fast. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Okay, so I am on peardeck.com. Okay, and then when I go to the right, I want to go to my account. Okay, I can go to settings. And over here, I have the ability to turn immersive reader. I should have shown you that, but I know we all know what immersive reader is, hopefully. And over here, you gotta turn on takeaways. And then the only way takeaways work is that students have to log in, obviously, because it's going to put it on your Google folder and it's going to create a document for each of the kids with their name on it. So it's not only going to create it on your folder, it's going to create it on their folder too in their Google account, because it will know who they are. Okay. So now that you turned it on, now when you present and you show the Pear Deck at the end, when you are done, it will give you a link with the takeaways. Okay.
So even if you don't choose for them all to sign on from that default setting, you can do it within the actual presentation setting where I showed you earlier. So you could turn that off, but then in the actual Pear Deck that you're in, you'd have to turn it on there. So just in case you want to toggle between. I think Robert,
yeah,
I think next.
I think Teresa's just talking, just so you know, if you forgot to do it, Teresa's talking about this over here, the little hamburger. You can toggle it in right here. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I have Pear Deck for Canvas, and kind of we're going to go over assigning it, and then kind of the different versions of assigning it, and then do you want to do it for grade? Do you want to do it just for engagement? So we're going to kind of go over those few things. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Okay, so I'm inside a class right now. I have the teacher on the left and the student is here on the right. And I'm just going to go ahead into one of these modules and let's create an assignment. And I want to show you the difference between making an assignment when it's teacher-led versus student-paced. Okay, so I'm going to go here, create an assignment, and I'll name this Pear Deck teacher. And I'm going to add it in there. Okay, then I got to publish it. And then when I go inside, I'm going to edit it. And this is just doing it through module. I think the assignment page would, bring this up already for me. Okay, so if I'm in here, I'm going to assign it points. If I want to grade it myself, or if I want it to be self-graded kind of. Okay. It won't really go in your rich text editor. We'll have to go down to a submission type, and that's going to be under external tool. And I'm going to find my Pear Deck app under the external tool. go even lower. Here it is. Okay, select. And then I'm going to assign it or save. And then now it should pop up or ask me to sign in to select which Pear Deck that I want to use. So I'm going to sign into my drive. Okay, and then here's my drive. Let's see what I can find in here. Just give me 1 second to find something. Okay, I got it selected. And when you do it under instructor paced activity, what I found is that you kind of control everything and then you end the session for the students. And when you make a assignment and you go into speed grader, it's not going to show you anything, and it's also not going to give them a grade, although it is creating a spot in there if you want to go and look at all of their answers and then put in their grade for them. So let me refresh the student side now. Okay, and here's this Pear Deck teacher. So I'm going to go in as a student. And usually helps to open it up in a new window. And I'm feeling okay. All right, loading the presentation. So how are you feeling? Okay, I want to go on to the next slide and it's not letting me because it's teacher pace. So as a teacher, I'm going to go and I'm going to go to the next slide. And now there it is. Okay, there's 3 pigs. And I want to go to the next slide. And now I'm controlling it as a teacher. And let's say I'm going to end this session and end session without naming it. This is like period 1. Okay. Now it's ended for me and the student. Everything went good. And now I'm going to go back to my class and let's make this a little bigger. I'm going to go into speed grader. Just to show you that there's no grade there and there's nothing to submit because that's what you went through. Okay, I'm going to assign this one more time and now I'm going to change it to student pace and we're going to see the differences between that. Okay. If it takes too long, I'll just kind of tell you what happens because my computer's been a little off today. All right, doesn't look like that's going. I need a new computer. All right, well, anyways, if you go under for student pace and the student goes through everything and then at the end there's a submit button and when they submit it, it'll automatically give them the full points for the assignment. So the bad part about that is that they don't have to answer every single slide either. Okay, and so they could just do one and then they could turn that in and they get full points. So just be careful with that. Let's see, am I okay? Well, say you guys are really still. Am I frozen? All right. So the other thing, and Ricardo, this is frozen for me, so you might have to show them how to put the link in if they don't want it to be graded. Let's see if this is. Let's see if it's responding.
Robert, do you want me to do it?
Yeah, my computer's just freezing today.
So Robert showed you how, whether you do it through modules or whether you do it through assignments, it depends, right? You can set it up so that it becomes an assignment inside of your Canvas that goes into your gradebook and you can grade and add points. But maybe sometimes we just want to use it as an engagement tool. We just want the link, okay? So you could do it. I'm just going through modules and I'm just going to go to plus. And what I want to do is I want to just add an external tool. Click on it.
URL or no?
You can do both. Okay. I'm going to use external tool. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look for Pear Deck and I'm going to say add item. And notice that it added it up right up here. No, actually in the bottom right here. I'm sorry. And then as a teacher, when I click on it, I'm going to click on it, and it's going to basically do the same thing that it did for Rover. It's going to ask me to log in and select which Pear Deck I want to use, and so on and so on. The difference between doing it this way, again, whether it was the external tool or the link like Robert mentioned, is that now it's not an assignment. So here it goes. This one is an assignment. You can see the little assignment with a pencil in there, and that's going to go into your gradebook. This is just a link that is just going to be used for engagement, and it's not going to go in the gradebook.
Okay. Okay, and then lastly too, if sometimes what I'll do is I will just if I use the same slide over and over again for engagement is I'll kind of leave the slide a little bit blank. So let me see if this one opens up again. Just give me a second. Hold on, it's loading. If you can kind of leave the slide open-ended, kind of blank, then you can use that same slide over and over again, and the students are going to have to do something different every time. So I know Ricardo talked about earlier how if I wanted to end a session, but then the students keep all of their own answers for the next day to kind of continue, then they would have that there. But what if I don't want them to have the same answers, and I kind of want to keep mixing it up, and I don't want to have to keep posting a different slides. So I might kind of do something like this. Here we go, share screen. And we're trying to figure this out with one of the special ed teachers that I was working with. Here we go. So this is something that we kind of put together. And so like for this one, she has it posted in like a spot because the kids maybe have trouble finding the link or kind of going into the assignments. So she has it on her homepage, and it's just the same link every single day. Click the pair, go inside, do this kind of stuff. But like, for example, on this one, color the square blue, okay? So we might have it now where we take out the word blue, and then they have to kind of listen to her, color the square red. And so that way that she can keep using that same link every single day, and the students have to listen for her to then change their answer every single day to what that's going to be. So they kind of have to, they can't just read it. They can't, put you on mute or just not listen to you. They have to actually listen to what you're saying. And so leaving that kind of open-ended, might help with that. And then once you have your slide going, I might also just have one. This has this, Pear Deck, and it's really just kind of, blank here. And when I present, then I'll kind of use all of those pop-up questions on the moment, based off of kind of what we taught that day. Let me see if I can present this. Add-ons, Pear Deck. Start the lesson. Instructor paste. And I think Ricardo showed you how to link the non-graded assignment through. The other option would be to take the link once it gives you the link once you start your Pear Deck. And then, paste that in as the external link. Actually, that's not might not let me in because we'll see. Yeah, because I didn't assign it. So I would take this link right here and then paste that into my Canvas class. Okay. And then I'm not having anyone in because I just started this and I usually had it uploaded here, but sorry about that. But I think that's it as far as grading goes for Canvas and the options for that. So thank you. Stop sharing.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging here with us. I know we were together for a long time and that was tons of information, but hopefully you found it so useful. And I know this is just the beginning. We went through the question document and we tried to answer everything in there. I don't know. I think we missed. There's a few more that we can answer. So we're going to stick around for a bit. And before you go, everyone, if you can please take our feedback survey that we've put inside our chat. I'll put it one more time. Oh, I think it's still there. All right. So if you don't mind taking our feedback survey, and if you want to hang around and ask any questions, please do. We're going to go through our question document and make sure we address everything.